Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jaylee. This is Jaylee's Corner. Look, I watched this and I have to say, my opinion has changed. Okay, I watched just now the Jussie Smollett, Jussie Smollett's Netflix documentary called The Truth About Jussie Smollett. It should be called The Truth About Jussie and Them People in Chicago that time that he said they beat him up. But I'm going to digress from that. Okay, look, this is a prehistoric event because I said this happened so long ago that I was like, we still on this. Why did Jesse choose to come and say something? Okay, why is the Olsen Daria brothers still acting like they didn't do nothing? I don't understand a lot. But we will get into it. Okay, but y'all know first thing first, if you have not done so already, take a quick little second. Okay, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to like the video and all that stuff. Okay, you can follow me on social media at JayLeesCorner on IG, Twitter, and TikTok. Okay, now look. At first, now this came I think a few days ago, and I just did not know. I wasn't paying attention. I was busy, and so when some folks mentioned, "Did you see it? Did you watch it?" I said, "Girl, I ain't even watched it yet. I ain't even looked at it." But I said, "Let me get into it today." And look, I'm around here. Hey, okay, in my stainless shirt, in my headband, and whatnot. That ain't that. Don't worry about that. Okay. The point is, Jussie, is he innocent? I'm saying, y'all. What if he didn't do it? What if he's actually innocent? What if this is actually a scheme that Todd set up to bring us the bull stuff? Okay, it is kind of likely that somebody fooled us. We just don't know who. Okay, look, just say I ain't giving up. I am innocent. Okay, there was, in my opinion, some new helpful evidence on his side. Okay, and the police does have a history of scandals in Chicago, and them showing kind of piece by piece how things went, and even how the cop girl. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. Now, I love my thumbnail. We have one Ozario. Is it Ozario? Those are, yeah, there's one Ozario brother on one side and one on the other. It's really them two against Justin. Okay, because truth be told, it's really them against him, and that's about it round here. Now, I said, Jesus, what happened? Okay, now these to me are the main players. Okay, we have the news guy, we have the investigating lady, okay, we have the chief. Okay, we got Ola and Abel, the brothers, and then we have Jussie. To me, they were the stars of this documentary and them giving their point of view of how things went from beginning to end. Okay, now I felt like Jussie lied. I did. I did. Based on what the media had been saying, based on some of the evidence that came out. And I kept on telling y'all, I am here in Detroit, Michigan. And when it's cold here, no one really goes anywhere like that, like that. Most of the time, we want to be in the house and we don't have to go outside. We do not go outside, okay? And when that polar vortex happened back in 2019, I was in the house, okay? So this happened January 29th. 2019. Again, this is a prehistoric event, okay? Because we have been surviving since then, okay? This is pre COVID. Anything before COVID, pre COVID, prehistoric, okay? It's a yesteryear, a long ago, in a space far, far away. There lived a man named Jussie Smollett, okay? He was in Chicago looking for some food. Anyway, my point is, I can't believe that in 2025, damn near 2026, there's a documentary about this. Okay, so January 29th, 2019. During the polar vortex out there in Chicago, okay, which means the temperatures are below free. If freezing is -13, the temperature outside is -75. Okay, it is too cold. If you walk outside, you might die. Okay. But some folk go out in it. Truthfully, a polar vortex just means it's really, really cold outside. It's really, really cold. Bundle up. Don't be outside for long. If you don't have to go outside, don't be outside, okay? And I was like, fine. Now, first of all, we see the reenactment, okay? I also did not know that the Frank Gatson, the Google him, okay, was the one who called the police. He called 911 for Jussie because he was at that point in time, he was Jussie's creative director. Okay, but whatever. Now we see a whole reenactment from Jussie's point of view. I flew in late. Okay. Uh got to the apartment around 2 a.m. Frank picked me up because again, Jussie does not live in Chicago, but they were shooting Empire in Chicago. So he flew into Chicago, okay, late at night, okay, got in late, went to the apartment where he was gonna be staying at. Okay, wasn't no fool around there. Now I will say this as well. If you are in a winter storm or a winter whatever, you want some food, you want some good food, you want some snacks. You do not want to be at a house with nothing to eat. Okay, you want some little snacks, some Snickers, you want a little Kit Kat, little juice, maybe some pop, some pretzels, some chips, bowls of warm chili. You want things that you know what I'm saying. You want some chicken with soup, maybe some pizza. I don't know. Okay, some lunch meat, a charcuterie board. Anyway, but Justin said, okay, got to the apartment late at night, like 2 a.m. I left the apartment in the polar vortex to go get some food from the Walgreens that's across the street. Okay. Got to the I thought Walgreens was 24 hours. It used to be Walgreens used to be 24 hours. You know how I know? I used to work at Walgreens. Okay. Back in 1999, I was a senior in high school. I was a worker at the Walgreens and we were open 24 hours. I would, but anyway. So he said, I thought they was open all night, but they were closed. Okay. So I went to the subway across the street to get some food. Okay. I said, cool. I went around there, got me a little salmon, get a little food or whatever. I text manager, Texas manager and said, hey, when you get a chance to give me a call. He said the manager called him as he was walking home from the subway. Now again, who want a subway sandwich in the coldness? Well, I guess if Walgreens is closed and if the only place open near you is the subway, you go to Subway. So I said that makes sense. I never heard before that he was trying to go to the Walgreens to get some snacks because you can grocery shop at the Walgreens. Okay, I didn't know that. So that was one point for me not knowing something that was a factual thing back then. Okay, he said I'm walking on the phone, manager and whatnot. I hear someone say Empire, but I kept walking. Why? Because it's cold outside. I got my sandwich. I'm on the phone. I keep walking. He then heard someone say again, "Ain't you he say, aren't you that Empire Faggot? Mm-hmm. Nigger? Okay, didn't use the GA, they used the ER, the hard ER, okay, the hard R, okay, and then said, this is MAGA country, okay. I said, well, that's not nice. That is homophobic. That is racist. That's not nice. He said, what you say about me? And that's how the fight started. He said the dude hit me, I hit back, and now we tussling in the polar vortex. They beat me up. It's two men. I can see the crack of their eyes. I can see just this part of their eyes or whatever. And I seen Caucasianness. Okay. I seen mayonnaise-ness. Like I seen the caucasity of Caucasian. Okay. Anyway, it was white people. Is what he said. I saw the white men, the eyes were white. Okay. He say, they were of lighter white skin. They beat me up, kicked me in, blah, blah, bloop, and then they ran away. You wanna know why? Because it's cold outside. Okay. He said, I noticed as I was getting up, grabbed my sandwich because I'm hungry now. I need my sandwich. Uh, he got this food. But you know what? When I got into a car accident back in 2016, I had went to get me a corned beef sandwich from the Coney Island round there on 7 on Van Dyke, and I was hit by a drunk driver. I can be honest and say, once I got home, I was mad I had my food. could have still ate my sandwich. Once I got home, I could have put it in the microwave. Okay, so I'm not against someone getting into some kind of altercation or some kind of accident on the way of picking food up, and they wanted their food when they got home. Because I wish I had my sandwich. Now, when I went to get my car from the car crash lot or whatever, the food was still in there, and I threw it away. That was 2 3 days later. My point is, him getting up, still getting his food. It made sense to me because when I got hit, I wish I kept the food to eat the following day. Anyway, he got up, went staggered. So we seen like little video of him staggering in the complex or whatever, and the noose was the rope noose was around his neck. So he said I kept it around there. Okay. Anyway, so Frank called 911. We said the police come up there, whatever. He has the noose around his neck. They're like, "Is this being recorded?" Like, yeah. Like, hey, I don't want to be recorded. So they cut off the body cam. Now I will say this: in the video, his face do look swollen. So he was in a tussle. You know what I'm saying? The noose, the rope was round there, okay. Frank did look concerned, Jussie looked a little bit perturbed too. I don't know. Okay. So the next day, he like, look, you know, I called my mom because at this point it's all over the news. So I'm calling my mom and like calm her down because she's upset and whatnot. So I downplay it to my mama. Okay. But at that point in time, the situation now snowballed. It's uncontrollable. Okay. It is snowballed into a whole bunch of stuff. I don't like the attention. It made me feel uncomfortable. It was too much on me. Okay. I felt embarrassed. I felt emasculated or whatever. Because he said I felt like I died and people were like eulogizing me, but I was alive. Based on it was nice comments. Child, somebody burning up something? Or the fire alarm. But he said, seeing the comments were great, but it made me feel like I'm not dead. Damn. It don't say there ain't no rest in peace. I'm okay. He said that made him feel weird. And I said, I can get that. Because, even though people can be actors, can be YouTubers or whatever, but can still be very shy and, insulated around other people. Okay. But he said, I felt the kind of way. Okay. I did all the attention to what me. Now, some folk may say maybe he never thought. It's two ways to think about it. Did he feel like I don't want all this attention? But if you say you got beat up by some people, it's gonna get attention. So I'm like, I don't know. Him saying I felt uncomfortable. I didn't want all of this. Well, I mean, what was gonna happen? So we didn't hear from the cops. So we have the investigator lady, the chief man, and the newsman. Okay. Now they're like, because he said, hey, it was two white men that beat me up, kicked me, news, racist, and homophobic things. That's what it was. So they're looking for two white individuals. So they're like, let's look at the camera footage. Who can we find? Now they're looking and looking again. It's a polar vortex. It's late at night, and they couldn't find, who did it. They said where he said happened at the camera that was like right above it, the camera wasn't working. So there was no footage of the actual attack. Keep in mind now, he didn't remember that part. Okay. So they then seen like two people like walking down the street on a whole separate camera. So they're following these two people. You can't see their face. They're just walking and walking and walking. So they're going from a camera to camera. People with home cameras. They're going camera to camera, trying to follow these two random individuals because he said I was attacked by two people. So, here's two people. Maybe they did it. And they like track them back to like a location and then they like disappear. Okay. Where they go? We don't know. Okay. So the one that figured out. Now the police chief, the black man, the bald black man, this is horrible. I was so upset since it happened in my city. You know what I'm saying? I just always it's crazy, racist things and homo. We can't have it here. He said, but again, I wonder, well, why was he outside at 2 a.m.? Now, when this happened, I think that was a lot of folks' question, and I felt like they was talking as if there was no one else outside except Jussie and two white or black men and no one else. I don't remember hearing about anyone else being around there. So the police chief man brought me there who was like, I wondered, it's so cold outside. Why was he outside? Like, ain't nobody outside. And I'm like, well, that would make sense if no one else except Jussie and these two white or black men was outside. He said, I also watched the hotel footage. And I didn't know. I was like, why would Justin still have the sandwich? He kept the sandwich. The bag was pristine, okay. And if you got into a fight or whatever, like who keeps? I'm like, a person is their food. He said anybody else would have probably ran because what if people came back? Him running, the food ain't stop him. He wasn't carrying groceries. It was a goddamn Subway bag. The chief man made it seem as if he carried 5 bags of groceries after getting. He had one bag in his hand. Okay. He also brought up. We watched on camera the police body cam when Jussie had the news on thing or whatever. He said, I just wonder, like, why would he leave it on? Like when he said that he left it on for them to see it, like any other black man would have taken it off and would have like thrown like, ugh, ugh. Okay. True. I'm not keeping rope around my neck. Okay. I'm not gonna do it. Now Justin later said that he didn't keep it on the whole time. He put it back on to show the police what had happened. Now that's sketchy. Okay. You don't need to put a news back on to show nothing. Okay. But Justin did. He said I didn't leave it on the whole time. I put it back on. Okay. I digress. Okay. He said also Justin did not want to give them his phone. Now, if I was assaulted and you say, well, give us your phone, I will also say, but why? Why do I have to give you my phone? Because I would also say, well, no, you don't need my phone. And for what? So I don't even see an issue with that because it wasn't as if he said, I got pictures of it. I have photos. Like, why do you need my? I would also say, well, if we don't need my phone, so no. Okay, no, thank you. Okay, now the news guy. Okay, he was from Fox 32 News around there. He covered the case. Now he said when the story broke, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Okay, so he said I called the Chicago PD information officer. Okay, which means he have a contact at the police people. I called the Chicago PD information officer, and the first thing he said when he answered his phone for me was, "It's all bullshit." You know, it's all bullshit. He said, "Was that a quote? No, don't quote me. Don't. I'm saying it off the record, okay? What you can say on the record is, we're investigating this crime, but it's a big skeptical." Okay. Now they showed the tweets he put up because he said one, the Chicago PD information officer said, "Hey, you can quote me by saying this." He also said that after that, they were giving him little tidbits to post about the case that they wanted to be made public. So he said, "Look, to be clear, I am not accusing Jussie Smollett of lying. I'm saying Chicago PD and Chicago FBI have been working around the clock and have found nothing to support it. And given the extreme, and again, this is like a couple days after it happened. And given the extremity of his claims and where they allegedly took place, it had them skeptical." He then put out a Chicago PD source tells Fox 32 News that Jussie Smollett was seen on the video surveillance still holding his sandwich when he returned to the building after the alleged attack. But why does that matter? See, and now I'm like, wait a minute. So y'all putting out little tidbits to make it seem like, well, no, he couldn't get beat up if he had a sandwich still. He couldn't have got beat up. It couldn't happen that way. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay. Then Jussie Smollett and his manager say they were on the phone during that alleged attack. Chicago police say he refused to turn over his cell phone. Again, but for what? For what? You don't need my phone, sir. Okay, get the records. Leave me be, bitch. But to me, I feel like him saying the police gave me, specific stuff to tweet about. And the whole thing on, oh, well, he had his cell. So what? I don't at that point in time, I didn't think about what that can make folks feel like, oh, he gotta be lying. Because who had a sandwich? I paid for the sandwich. Again, it was a simple bag. He picked up his bag and walked to the house. I digress. Okay. Now also heard from a former assistant, either an assistant or a PR person, and she's like they tried to make an issue because he did not want to give them his phone. But in hindsight, he had a lot of famous folks numbers and stuff on his phone, and so he just didn't think why do no. Now, some folk may say, well, if you have nothing to hide, give them your phone. And he was like, look, when Jussie said, look, if on any given day, someone said, give me your phone, and they now have complete access to all your text, all your phone, all your stuff, would you be so keen to be like, oh yeah, here? I was like, well, let me delete out some explicit thing. I'm saying you may not want to just arbitrarily give up your phone when you feel like, why do you need my phone? Why do I have to give you my phone? Maybe I can show you the call log. Okay, and you see a call came in at 2:49, 8, whatever. I don't know. So I agree. No one wants to just arbitrarily give up their cell phone to the police to search and find whatever is in there. Now, he's like, I live a full life, okay? And I have made mistakes in life or whatever, and I really did not want my drug use being made public, and that is in my phone. So I didn't want that, okay? He said, then people questioning me about everything in my phone. And when he said folks question why was I out at 2 a.m. at Subway because I'm always out at night getting food. He said just like the four people that was in the restaurant. Now I never remember hearing that. I always felt like he was the only person at the Subway. I did not know that it was four other people. It was a worker in there and then three other customers. So I feel like the narrative that no one else was out except him that late wasn't true. So that made me say, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. You mean to tell me it wasn't just him? I swear, y'all, I always thought the narrative was no one was at Subway but him. And that's why they kept on saying no one else was out. I'm like, there were other people there. and truth be told, he looked the most bundled up. The person behind him, it don't look too bundled up. The little hoodie. Look, he's wearing a thick ass sweater, a hat. Jussie, he's at the counter. He is bundled. Okay, but there are two folks sitting down in Subway at 2:30 or whatever that 2 or 3 a.m. at Subway getting food. So yeah, the narrative was in the past, no one goes and gets Subway that late in the winter. And I'm like, well, at least four people do, and she worked there. So to me, the narrative of him, it can't be true because who else were other people? So I did not know that. I said, well, okay. To me, that means it's not abnormal that he was out at night because he was, and so was three other people. Okay, Caucasian people a day and a black worker. Anyway, so again, his point was like, if they got my phone and they tried to scrutinize every little thing, like why was I at the restaurant at 2 a.m.? Well, other folks was too, but no one said nothing about that. Okay, he also brought up how he did not wear the news for a long time. He did take it off once he got in the apartment, but he took it off and put it back on to show the police, what had happened, whatever. Now the investigator lady, they were looking at where did those two men go that we saw that disappeared on camera. Okay, so they requested the records for any ride shares like that night that was out. So it came back with one ride share in that area, that day, that night, that time, or whatever was one thing. And then they say the person who ordered it lived 1 block away from where the two strange people disappeared. Okay, and it was the old Sandaria brothers. Okay, it was, I think it was maybe it was I don't know, it was either maybe I don't know, it was one of us, one of them. But they lived 1 block away. They were the ones who had the only ride share that night, and they was like, and I think they like got from one ride share to a different ride share, so they kind of switched up cars. Probably not be seen. Um, so that's just hold on, Cardi. Why did it play?
That's suspicious.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's weird.
That's weird. I give them that, okay? If only one ride share happened that night and they switched ride shares and went all the way around there and came all the way back, and that's suspicious. That is weird, okay? And it was the one of the brothers ordered the ride share. Okay, cool. So they looked up um the people. Now, Jesse told them it was two white men. Okay, two white men said we're never looking for any black men. Okay, so they then said, oh, they're on the social media. They were extras on Empire, the show that Judge is on. Oh, not only that, the night after the attack, they went on a trip to Nigeria. Oh, they escaped, they ran. Why they do that? Okay, so they were waiting for them to come back or whatever. I think about like 2 weeks later, they came back and they were arrested at the airport on the tarmac. Okay, but the police they said we ain't talking. Are we arrested? We arrested? We being detained for what? What happened? I ain't saying shit. Okay. Now, if you're ever detained, they can only hold you for 48 hours without some evidence. So they were sitting around there. Okay. We then see he did the Robin Roberts interview. Now, that was the whole I didn't do anything. They came and said, Negro, this is mega country. Okay, you are a gay person in America. We don't like you. So he was, the whole thing he did or whatever on there. Now the PR lady said they had all kind of interviews being offered to him. He did not want to any interviews. He turned all of them down. But Fox and them said, well, hey, you need to address it in some kind of way. So he chose, okay, well, fine, I'll do this one interview with Robin Roberts, and that's it or whatever. I can say my piece, say what happened, and then that's it. So he is saying now, I wasn't trying to do all these interviews or whatever. I was trying to not really engage or whatever, but I had to say something because they said I should. So because the brothers have been detained, the police called him down and said, "Hey, we think we got the people. Okay, look at these pictures. Do you recognize anybody around here?" He said, "Those are some black men. I told you they was white, but I know one of them. That's a friend of mine." Okay. So he said, I was confused because I told y'all it was some white men. Why y'all telling me these black men did it? I don't think they did it. Okay. And not all of that. I know one. I don't think he did it because I'm not signing nothing that says that yes, it's them because it was white people. So no. So again, his story ain't changed, but I digress. So we see the brother's lawyers, this little lady or whatever, who say, well, I was watching Jussie interview on Robin Roberts or whatever, so I recorded on my phone, stuck my phone in, and showed the brothers the video of Jussie's interview. She said, and at that point, once she said they showed Jussie like video of the two guys walking. He said, "Well, yes, that's them. They beat me up." The brothers felt like, "Oh, that's him saying that we did it, that we're guilty." He didn't say it was them, the black two men. He just said, "Yes, two people walking beat me up." Okay, it gets real sketchy or whatever. So she said at that point in time, once they seen that he did an interview, they said, "Okay, you know what? Now let's talk." Okay, now we want to talk. Now, Ola seems like quiet. Abel, Abel was a fame whore. Abel wants to be famous. Okay, I said, "What? Who had is this?" Abel wants to be a star. Okay, Abel likes the limelight. Abel wants to be friends with famous people. He wants to be in that life. You can take. He was smiling. He was enjoying being on a Netflix documentary. You know, Ola, the other brother, was kind of like, "I'm just here for the ride." And he said, I'm here. What I'm gonna do, I don't know." So to me, Ola, no, Abel was a mastermind of anything for us to make it in this industry. Okay, I digress. So he said, "I knew Jussie. You know, I was the first one to really no, I think the brother no, the brother was the first one to guest star, but he was friends. He became friends with Jussie, and he liked being friends with a celebrity because he wants that life, in my opinion. Okay. So he said, "I met up with Jussie because he texted me and said, 'Hey, I need someone from you on the low low.'" And he said we met up, and he told me he wanted me to beat him up. Okay, but we would need someone else to help him to help me beat him up. So they rolled up on a brother, Ola, and said, "Ola, you the helper." Okay, so now both brothers saying, "Yeah, he wants to help beat him up." Okay, and they then said Jussie was going. He told them he wants to use the footage of the camera outside of the apartment to use the footage of the beat up to post on social media. Now, the reason I said, well, that don't make no sense because if that's true, why would he say it was two white men? If his plan was to always use the footage, y'all not white. So that one part to me does not make any sense. If he told y'all from jump, "I'm gonna use the footage to post on social media for attention. I want to be an activist. Okay, I'm gonna use y'all beat me up on camera with mask on. Okay, to say this would happen." I said, then why would he ever say it was white people? Because I'm like, they not white. So that part did not make sense to me. I don't know if he thought them wearing masks, they would not be seen. But if he's seeing them and he's seen the mask show their faces as black men, he would not say they were white. He would say they were black because he would have saw y'all black. Because when he's anyway. So again, they said that was his plan. Okay, he wants to be an activist, so he's gonna use the footage to get attention for his activism. Okay, so they said it was a job. He paid us $3,500, and I was like, 3,500. That's a weird number, you know. Could why not? Why not? So y'all got paid 1750 a piece because two of y'all did it. So we paid y'all 1750 to me to beat me up and possibly be arrested. Wouldn't you want more money from that? Like, wouldn't he offer more money? Wouldn't he pay both of y'all 35? Like, why not 7 grand? So even I felt like, well, damn, that ain't even a lot of money. But I don't know. I digress. Okay, so we beat him up because he asked us to. Okay, and that's what it was. So because they told the police, just set it up. That made the police feel like, okay, he played us, we upset. So now the lady mad, the man mad, the mayor mad, everybody mad. So now they want to arrest Jussie. Okay, we want to arrest you. We're gonna charge you with filing a fake police report. We're pissed off. Okay, he sent a fake hate mail letter to himself from at Fox. He then made a fake beat up hate crime in Chicago. And we pissed off. Okay, because he's upset at his salary. The chief was sent all this shit in the press conference. He's upset about the money he's making at Empire on Fox. He's upset that he was so upset that he sent himself a fake, hate mail thing, and Fox did not take it serious that he made this fake hate crime. So the chief man said all this because the two Nigerian men told us Jussie did it. He did it. Now there was really no because there was no video footage of Jussie being beaten up. And it because the only people in a ride share were them two people. They say he lying. I was like, well, I guess that is a bunch of circumstantial evidence because they kept saying there was no evidence that, Jussie and the brothers were like it was weird. It was weird, okay? So because the police not saying Jussie ain't shit, the whole world turned on Jussie. He's a villain now. He's no longer a victim or whatever. And there's also this narrative about, well, is Jussie the villain or is the Chicago police again, framing people and lying because they have a reputation of lying to people for years. Okay, so a couple of questions come up from different people. Okay, now the brothers' lawyers bring up how well, they could. No, someone asked the lawyer, how did the brothers go from being arrested and charged to the charges being dropped and then being let go? Well, this good lawyering, girl, no. Okay. Not just lawyer said, why would he keep saying they're white men? Who did it? If he hired two black men, why would he say it was white men? Now some folk may say to help the people he paid to do it get away with it. Okay. Some folk would say the reason he would say they were white was to help them get away with it and not get caught. However, the reason that don't make no sense is as well because they said he wanted to use the video footage. So he should have never said. Again, it's a toss up. It's a toss up. But his lawyer is saying it makes no sense if he set it up and if he hired two black men, if he wanted to use the footage, why would he ever stick to the three of them they were white? That makes no sense. Okay. Just as said, child, they lied on me. The police, she lied on me. I had no issue with Fox. I was being paid very, very well. Okay. I was also making money as a director. I had no issue with money, my contract, nothing. He lied on me. Okay. Because why? He's a liar. Okay. He said also, yeah, I did text Abel, my friend, because at that point in time, he was training me. Okay. I did text him and ask him, hey, I need some help on the low. Okay, on the low. He said because he was training me or whatever, and no one knew this, but I wanted these herbal steroids that weren't legal here. They're legal in Nigeria. It helps you lose belly fat. I said, belly fat, can I get some? Is it here? Is it Ozempic pills? Is it Ozempic? Or I don't know. But again, he said his point was it was an herbal steroid. He couldn't get here. So he was asking herbal steroids on the low. He said it had nothing to do with, beating somebody up. Okay, but I paid the man by check because for work, he was my trainer. He was training me before it, and I said, well, $3,500 for a 5-week training session does sound legit to me. And now that I think, I do feel like if you're gonna pay someone to fakely beat you up and possibly get arrested, wouldn't you want more than $3,500 as a duo? That's 17 video piece. Wouldn't you want $3,500 a piece? We outside in the code. We could possibly go to jail. Matter of fact, no, I want 10,000. We want $5,000 each. That sounds more plausible to me. And if he's saying, I had money, I had no money issues, I paid for, and the check did say like a 5-week training session, but the brother said, oh, that was a fake. He's because that was a cop out anyway. All that's going on. Okay, so we then see the first charge was a fake, found up a fake news report, and at the time Kim Fox was the prosecutor, and she said, "Look, I can offer him a deal. Okay, if he forfeits the 10K bond that he paid, and if y'all can show that he's a good citizen, like we'll drop the charges because again, at this point in time, it was only a charge of filing a fake police report." Okay. Technically, when Frank called the police on the 911 call, he says he did not want me to call, but I called myself. When they got in, he said, I don't want to be filmed. Technically, he never really tried to make this what it was. We made it what it was because we're nosy. We're nosy. And then the police felt like, and I'm the chief man, well, he's a celebrity, he's in our city, and something happened, we're going to have to investigate. And they put all this manpower and money behind it and whatnot. But the technical crime was filing a fake police report. And so he said, okay, drop the 10K bond, prove he's a good man or whatever. They dropped the case. Okay, cool, fine. He said, because otherwise, my lawyer told me, if you don't take the deal, it's going to go on for years, 2-3 years, whatever. And at that point in time, people will forget about you. Your life will be over because it'll be all about this, this, this. So he said, I agreed to do it because I just wanted to move on. And I hated having to agree because I didn't do shit, but I don't want to make it go on. So I said, cool. So they agree. The charges are dropped. Fine. Okay. In the press conference, just said, look, the charges got dropped. I had to do this and that, but I ain't do shit. Me agreeing to the deal don't mean I didn't do it. I'm not lying. I ain't do shit. Power to the people. Okay. Well, that pissed off the mayor, the police chief, technically the city of Chicago. The people in power got pissed. Their egos were hurt. They felt like he played us. And he's still gonna deny doing it. I can't believe that shit. Fuck that. So they brought in a special prosecutor for new charges. And that was when they felt like, okay, you fucked us over. So we're gonna still bring up charges on you and then take her at the court. Child, a whole trial went on for the fake police report, and it was a couple other charges. Things like filing a fake police report, maybe reporting a fake crime. It was a couple different things that whatnot, okay? But the point was he had already had a deal with the city. The fact that they still went behind the deal to bring on new charges for the same crime is kind of double jeopardy and was some bullshit. But he still had to go to court and trial or whatever. So they kept saying, well, there's no connection for Jussie to the brothers. The only connection to is a hoax with what the brother said. There was no physical evidence. It was just the brother saying, hey, he set it up. It wasn't us. Ooh, no, we're innocent. I mean, we beat him up, but that was really it, okay? So we then see it was two witnesses that I don't remember hearing from. So there was a lady who lived in the building where he was at. There was also this guy right there who was I think security guard for the hotel nearby. So the guy was like, yeah, that night I happened to go outside doing my rounds or whatever, and I saw a man running, and because he was running towards me, I put my flashlight up towards him, and I saw it was a white man in a ski mask running past. Okay, the lady said when she went out to walk her dogs again, and so again for me, people kept saying, "Well, no one's outside." Well, there's a lot of people outside. Child, it was people. Child, look, the folks in the subway was outside. Apparently they was outside too, the damn brothers, and these two individuals who were at two different places. One at the hotel nearby and one at the actual apartment complex or whatever. And she said I was out walking my dog who had to believe themselves or whatever, and I saw a white man standing by the building, like he was waiting for something or someone, and I did see what looked like rope hanging out of his pocket. She said the following day, when the news broke about what happened, I said to somebody, I think I saw the guy because I seen someone out while I was walking my dogs. So again, I'm like, I mean, the fact that at least two random people did, now could they have been lying? At this point, anyone could be lying. But they said, both of them separately said to the police on did not child separate occasions, separate conversations, separate interviews. Both said they seen a white man round there. Okay, period. But they said that the dude said when I told the police what I saw, and they called me in for a lineup and they showed me who only the black me. He said, I told you I saw a white person. He said the cop said, well, pick the closest person you think that look. I'm like, what? He told y'all I seen a white man running, and y'all then showed him pictures of black men and said, well, pick the closest complexion. What? Now he didn't pick the brothers out either. Because ain't nothing white on them, barely their pupils. Okay, so the dude said, they didn't even take my statement serious. Okay, the lady was like, yeah, I told them I saw they didn't care. Okay, that's weird. Okay, but then what happens? He got convicted, guilty. Oh, okay, and the judge said, you did it. You're guilty. Okay, I don't like you. You ain't shit. I'm paraphrasing. But he chastised Jussie that day in court. It was to me, it was a bit rude. Okay, I was saying, man, fuck you. Okay, so he then, you ain't shit. You've messed up your own life, okay? So you get 30 months probation, 120K in restitution, plus a $25,000 fine. Then also 150 days in jail that starts today. And so he said, fuck you. I didn't do it, and I am not suicidal. And he said that because I don't know what could happen to me in jail, so I don't want anything to happen to me in jail. And they say I kept no, I'm not suicidal. I didn't do this. Okay, I am innocent. What do you mean? I'm not guilty. Let me be free. Why you playing?
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Okay. Jussie said, fuck you, Judge. I don't care. I did not do this, okay? I didn't do nothing. Y'all lying on me. Y'all playing me. This is unfair, okay? I am not suicidal. He went to jail. Now, he spent 6 days in jail, got out, and they have been fighting girls since then and whatnot. Now, I think since then, it was overturned because, again, the point was he already had a deal. He technically should have never been brought up on any more charges. So that has been squared away. Okay. Now, a couple of opinions. Okay. There was a journalist from London. It was a lady from London and also a lady from Maine. The one from London said, I thought he was guilty. And I talked to his family, it was like a sibling. And I felt like, well, of course they'll be supportive. They're siblings. Of course they'll say something. He said, but I talked to him and they felt so sincere. I said, you know what? Let me look into it. Let me pull up the case files. Let me do all this shit that some folk did not do. Because if you thought he was going to do this based on social media, because I did too. Okay. I thought it was guilty, but she said, I looked in the case. And she said, there was no eyewitnesses or any evidence that really connected the brothers to the case. And I said, well, just the fact that they had the Uber to and from, they were seen on video buying like ski mask. And that's really it. They were in the area, and a day or two before they bought ski masks. And they said he hired us. Now again, let's not forget the video that they saw of two people around the area never showed the brothers. We never saw their face. So that wasn't even an IDing thing. Okay, I'm a little bit. So again, the only connection that this was a hoax, or even that they were involved with the brothers saying, yeah, it was us. But I'm like, did they do that to get attention? Again, Abel wants attention. He does. Okay. Now the lady from Maine said she looked into the case. She looked into the officers who were on the case. She said out of the 38 officers assigned to this one case, they had a combined of 563 misconduct claimed against them about criminal sexual misconduct, shooting people, drugs and whatnot. I said, what? What also there were 16 lawsuits filed against them that the city paid out. Out of the 16 lawsuits, the city paid out every single lawsuit, which makes it feel like the cops on this case have a long history of habitual line stepping, line crossing, law breaking, misconduct, and all these things and whatnot. Okay, I also just said that one of the officers who showed up to the scene initially, he had been accused of homophobic hate speech against a black man. So again, it's a whole bunch of like, did the police pull a fast one? Okay. She then said, I requested the video footage of the hotel worker who saw the white man. Okay. She said, when I got it, there's 10 seconds missing. You see him walking toward the door. You see the employee hotel man walking toward the door to go outside. It then splits to 10 seconds later. So it's like where they go. So they're like somebody took that footage and like altered it. They don't know how it happened. They don't know. Okay. She felt like there's no reason why this video should be missing 10 seconds. And it's missing the 10 seconds that would have shown him seeing the person. Now you do see him walk outside. You do see a white person like running. You do see a person running past, but there's like 10 seconds. Okay, so she felt like the police had already, because at that point in time, the police had already been accused of, okay, allegedly, tampering with evidence in the Laquan McDonald shooting, where he was shot 16 times by the police. The police lied about the details of it all. They were accused of deleting footage from nearby restaurants and everything. They did not want to release body cam footage, and once it was released, it was shown. They lied about different pieces of the case for Laquan McDonald. And at the same time, the cop who was accused of doing it was found guilty. They felt like that. I think maybe a week or so, or was it like maybe that same time frame, the cop who did it had been found guilty. So she felt like, did they purposefully try to distract from the Laquan McDonald shooting verdict to let's shift from y'all being pissed at the police and let the police say he lied on us. It was a whole hoax. So you change the narrative of them being pissed at the cops to them being pissed at Jussie for lying to the cops. You know what I'm saying? So that was her feeling. Okay. And I said, well, I mean, we say all the time, they be distracting us here, there, and everywhere. Now, the brothers who did not want to talk at first, they said Jussie's attorney said, well, somebody said, I think it was the attorney, their house got raided. They found guns and bullets and whatnot. One brother is a felon, can't be around guns. There was footage showing the brother talking to lawyers and also the cops, and they're mentioning, records being expunged, sealed records. So she felt like, it wasn't the lawyer, it was the investigator, journalist, who said she got the footage showing the conversation. So she feel like they got some kind of deal, because if the brother was a felon and had guns in the house, why was he not arrested? If he's a felon and had multiple guns in the house, why was, I don't know. But she felt like they set some kind of deal to throw him up under the bus, to take the heat off of the police for other things going on. Okay, now their lawyer said, well, no deal was made. And I said, girl, I don't know. To me, they're scammers. Okay, they're scheming scammers all together. Okay, but they said we didn't have no deal. We don't need no deal. We didn't do no deal. The police chief said they lying. They meaning Jussie and his attorney. He said they lying. He's a liar. Okay, we was not. It was some bullshit to think the cops are lying. They then say, girl, showing the chief man saying Jussie's a liar. He's lying on us. We didn't do nothing. To them showing he got fired. The police chief got fired because he was caught like drunk in a car sleep, and he lied about stuff, and come to find out he had been drinking before, and they had to fire him because he was girl. If girl, you a liar too. Then y'all both some liars. What do you mean?
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
The chief saying Jussie's a liar. It's impossible for us to be lying. But you got caught lying and got fired. Okay. Anyway. There was one video they showed, but you could not see people's face or whatever. And some folk thought it was a black person. Some folk thought it was white. Like the police chief, I think he said it was black. Their attorney, she said it was white. One brother said it was him. I don't know, but you couldn't tell. Some folk thought it was a white man. Some thought it was a black man or whatever. So it's like, could it be not? I don't know. Okay. The brother then say, you know what? We think somebody political put him up to that or whatever. But we wrote about it. We wrote about what we think in the book. The brothers could not even get the title of the book right. Okay. The book is called Bigger Than Jussie: The Disturbing Need for a Modern Day Lynching. I was like, y'all wrote a book. Again, they want to be fair. I'm willing to bet money. Any interview that's offered to them, they will take it. Okay? Y'all couldn't get the name of y'all book right. But Jussie said, I don't care what anybody think. If y'all like me, love me, or whatever, I didn't do it. I did not do this shit. Period.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Do I think he's innocent? Do I think he's guilty? Before watching the documentary, I felt like he was guilty. I felt like he set this shit up. After watching it, I do feel like maybe he's innocent. I do feel like maybe it's a big case of circumstantial evidence. The only person who said it was Jussie was the brothers. And they only said that because they got arrested. And the lawyer showed them the video of him saying, yeah, whoever that is, they did it. So, there's, again, the whole notion that, well, he has to be lying because who'll be outside in a snowstorm? There were other people outside. There were 2 witnesses who saw white people. They saw some white people. There were other people outside. So the narrative that he can't, the narrative that he's lying because who else would be it? So other people were there too. You know what I'm saying? Seeing how the police were telling the news people little, tidbits to put out on social. Like they were already casting doubt from the beginning and using the news to do it. So a part of me feel like we'll never know. I hope we don't never have to sit through not another documentary or whatever. Leave it all on the floor. Okay. The one thing I know for a fact, there's some scammers. Okay. If you see them coming, run. Okay. Period. The whole book, the cowboy hat, okay, the George Jefferson shirt is weird to me. Okay. And I mean, no, not George Jefferson, George from George in the Jungle. Okay, the old man. No, he's Curious George Daddy. My point is, I just feel like they purposefully wanted to be involved in some kind of way. And once they saw him say, "Oh, yeah, well, they did it. The ones on the thing," they said, "Well, cool. He did it. Let's get a deal." And that's it. So I mean, I don't I don't, there could really be two white men out there in the world laughing at us because they got away with it. I don't know. Child call Scooby doing them. Anyway, y'all, that's all I have. Okay. An hour. Look, I talk too damn much. Y'all don't forget to like the video and subscribe and all that good stuff. Okay. I will talk to y'all later. I gotta go. Jussie is kind of innocent. He's kind of innocent. Okay. I no longer fully believe he's guilty. I think he's 73, no, he's 78% innocent in my eyes. I'll say 83. He's 83% innocent. We're gonna figure out the other, 17% on a different day. I gotta go, y'all. Bye.